All right, welcome in hour two. Let's start this.
Just real quick, because a couple people in the chat, I think, were a little confused. The whole purpose of that little draft was to go wide receiver in the first round to see how it affects the rest of the draft. So if y'all came in a little bit late, that's the whole reason. We weren't being serious there. We're just more or less trying to see how it gums up the works, which you could see it clearly did, forcing yourself into, which again is another way to step back and be like, you don't draft based on need. We have to do this in the first round. The second you start that mentality, look what happened. You end up looking like a clown shoe, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly right.
And just here to Zach, I got you, buddy. Sorry, Zach said, sorry, my super chat may have been out of line. I guess I'm kind of just lost where I'm wrong. Dude, we're not saying you're wrong. You live in America. You're free to say. We got to be able to have a discussion. That's totally fine. I was just pulled up quick numbers on him. He only got, 16% of the target share, 75 targets. He got caught a deep ball in triple coverage. It's not that he can't do it. I'm not saying that we're not going to put him outside, but he's 5'11", so is the cutoff 6 foot. 30. It's numbers we can pull. I get it, but we got to keep an open mind. There's a lot of people trying to get the rock. We were trying to feed Tucker Kraft. There's a lot of people that gets the offense going. I don't think that we need to, frown on Jay Reed or whatever if his numbers aren't there.
Right. And listen, Zach, your super chat was not out of line, bro.
Right. All. Yeah, that's it.
We have differing opinions. There was nothing wrong with your super chat, man. And you're not the only person that feels like that. Now, if I were to try to make my case on why I think he can play outside, it's because we've already seen him do it. We've seen him line up in the Z. We've seen him motion. We've seen him motion across the formation, and cheat motion, the ball snapped and him run a wheel route, catch it and take it to the house. Like we've seen that his rookie year. We've seen, like Emilio talked about, even though he's lined up in the 2, which would somewhat be the slot, depending on where everyone else is lined up. You've seen him run a deep, is essentially a deep post that turned into a deep climb route. He caught it in triple coverage. Yeah. We've seen him go back his rookie year. You remember the Saints game? Remember the final drive, or not the final drive, but the go-ahead drive that gave them the lead? Who did Jordan Love go to? They ran, it was either a dagger or a Haas concept where Jayden Reed was in the 2 and he ran a slot fade and made a diving catch deep. Like, you see him make play after play after play off vertical routes. And we try to hem, not you, but we as a fan base try to hem these people up. We see he's under 6 foot. Nope, can't play outside. And I'm telling you, the reason his numbers weren't even down. This is what's crazy about Jayden Reed.
Right.
He improved on every number last year other than touchdowns.
With less targets, Clay. 2023 had 94 targets for 793 yards. For 2024, he had 75 targets for 857 yards.
Right. And that's the whole point, is like the only thing that changed with Jayden Reed was his targets went down. Now, if the complaint is, okay, why did the targets go down? It's all of a sudden Jayden Reed sucks. No, he was on pace. Guys, we broke this down with him and DK Metcalf. If he had gotten the same amount of targets as DK Metcalf, he smokes DK Metcalf's ass in statistics. I mean, smokes him. He's finished with like 11 or 1,200 yards receiving, right? So why did the target share go down? Remember the jet sweep where he hurt his ankle? At that point, his target share went down. I think it was kind of one of those Terrell Davis things where, hey, we need him to be out there because we know the defense is going to clamp down on him on these crossers and these drags and everything underneath. We need him out there. But Matt LaFleur knew if he's banged up with that ankle, we don't need him getting hit all the time. So I think they started to steer the targets toward Dontavion Wicks. And unfortunately, Wicks' drop issue emerged, right? So that's the way I see it. It's all about deployment is what it comes down to. It's not like when people say slot or outside, they immediately assume that guy's just going to be running a route out of the slot. That's not how Matt LaFleur's offense works. There'll be times that the 2 will cheat out to a semi-stack and then get a run and go outside. So essentially when the ball's snapped, he's playing outside. Like there's a number of different ways that they approach it. And when you're looking to incorporate other receivers into your offense, defenses are watching the tape. They're looking at what the Packers did last year. If we come back out, well, Jayden Reed's a slot. We're just going to line him up in the slot, no motion, no nothing. We're just going to have him run slot routes. They're going to clamp down on him again. And what ends up happening? You got to take shot plays. That's what you end up having to do. Or you got to hope like heck that the offensive line holds up long enough to hit one of those deep digs at 13 yards.
Do you think too that you could argue that the wide receivers, quote unquote, lack of production or targets could coincide with the fact that Josh Jacobs kind of came into a splash and revamped that running game with us as well?
That's the other thing. That's the other thing, Jacob. It's a great point. It's also like somebody put a statistic up of how good Josh Jacobs did catching the football out of the backfield. That's another reason why they were clamping down on Jayden Reed, and we decided to distribute the ball somewhere else. It's not like the passing game was bad. That's what's so for me. It's what's hilarious about the whole wide receiver conversation in the draft. If we're making it sound like you got to get a receiver, you got to get a receiver, and I go back to the Eagles game and I go, boys, our receivers didn't lose that game. We lost that game because we got our asses kicked in the trenches. Well, guess what we did? You go out and get Aaron Banks. That's why I'm not going to be surprised if in the first round with pick 23, we go with the offensive lineman and just continue to build depth and shore that up so that doesn't happen again. So Jacobs took touches away from him. You could tell that they thought Tay Wicks was the player that we seen a glimpse of where he was the highest graded receiver on our team, if I remember correctly, that wasn't named Jayden Reed. His rookie year, Tay Wicks' rookie year, they were trying to kind of pull that out of him. And another thing, and I'll let you guys give your take. Many people don't take into consideration the business side of this either. You've got Romeo Doubs and Christian Watson coming up for a contract, right? Well, now Christian Watson's got to battle back from the injury. Romeo Doubs, some people believe he's got one foot out the door because of what happened last year with the suspension. So if you're a front office and a coaching staff and you're looking up and going, Tay Wicks looked like one of, if not our best receivers his rookie year. And we've got him for 2 more years on his contract past the other 2 guys. Let's go ahead and get him involved, get him acclimated, and let those 2 guys walk, pick up a couple comps picks, and let's keep this thing moving on down the road. I hope that doesn't happen. I hope they re-sign Christian Watson once he proves that, he's healthy. But anyway, your all thoughts. I'm sorry, I went on a little rant there, but those are all the things you got to take into consideration. Whether the box is loaded or not, are they clamping on the slot and the cheat and and the F and everything? That's the things that matter to me.
Is there a world, just because you sparked something in my brain when you just were talking about, that if they, for whatever reason, are a little hesitant on Dobbs, which I'll be honest, I'm a little bit gun shy right now, and I'm not quite sure what to think going into this next season. Obviously, with Watson being in such a bad situation with his injury, is there any chance, and that they reach out to Watson and say, hey, man, your market right now is trashed. By the time you come back, you'll have to absolutely be playing lights out for you to get even near the contract that you would have had you not gotten hurt. Is there a way that you go to him now, Clayton, and say, we want to extend you for maybe another year or 2 after this and give you a chance to come back with it, the team that drafted you, get healthy, show us what you can do, and then go from there? Do you see that as at all a possibility, or is it more?
If I'm putting myself in Goody and Russ Ball and John Eric Sullivan's shoes, no, because you got to give guaranteed money. And the reality is we've seen what happened with Box Knee. You could name off a multitude of players that now you got a little bit of precedent with Rashawn Gary, but with Rashawn Gary, what did he do? He came back and proved that he was healthy. So I kind of feel like that. There you go. That's the precedent we have to go off of, is expecting Christian Watson to come back. And that's why I'm hoping he gets back mid-November. And he just rips people's throats out. Yeah. Because I want him to get that contract. There's nothing worse than seeing a player who, by the way, should not have played in that game. Right. And don't get me wrong, it wasn't like the coaching staff made him play in it. He went to them. That's been confirmed by his father. I'm sure Christian has confirmed it in certain situations, but they were planning on holding him out. He wanted to be out there, but as an organization, man, they dropped the ball. You've absolutely got to protect that player right there, because Christian Watson is a team player first. There's no doubt. Zach in the chat said Love couldn't roll out to the bootleg play action. I don't care what anyone says. They did mainly shotgun this year because Love could not handle dropping under center 80% of the time. The offense was not ours. I agree with that.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Zach actually goes on to reiterate. He says that chat that's on the screen, the one we just read, is saying that our offense will be totally different with a healthy Love. We were handicapped this year because Love was not healthy. I completely agree.
Still finished 5th in QBR.
That's where, like, when people are sitting here trying to throw this guy in front of a bus or, sell him down the river, it's like, dude, you have the 25 drops by the wide receivers, again, is a number that I will keep coming back to. It's tied for the most in the last 10 years of NFL play. That's not me throwing. It's just like what you said. I'm not throwing shade necessarily at the wide receivers. It's saying this is what happened. This is why we had the type of season that we had, because certain players did not execute. When they did execute, you can extrapolate those numbers, those stats like we talked about. That's not the problem. The problem is going to be whether or not you're being successful in your gameplay. It's not necessarily that we had the wrong team out there. It's not that we had the wrong guys we drafted. It's that the guys that were put into positions to succeed poop the bed. It is what it is.
2-0 for this. Jordan's footwork in the recent training videos looks like he's healed from the injury. Completely agree with that too. We showed that the other day, didn't we, Tim? Emilio showed him out there at practice, or working out with Armed and Dangerous. So, yeah, I think he's going to return to old Jordan Love. And what's crazy is it wasn't like he played horrible last year either.
Right?
Like he battled an MCL, a nerve issue in his throwing elbow where he lost
funny bone thing.
Had numbness in his hand, in his throwing hand. And then the other was because of the MCL and playing on the brace all year, he ended up straining the groin, right? So
I'll tell you, the silver lining through all of that was Jordan finally learned how to throw that damn check down.
Yes, he did.
There was no more of that standing in there.
That's a great
That
point.
ball got out quick and in a hurry, and you're right. I think it could have been a lot worse considering that he wasn't 100% all year.
Right. Completely agree.
I don't think that he got enough credit too, because look at the long lineage he comes from of obviously Brett Favre gutting it out. I mean, literally carrying his guts inside while he's going on the field. Aaron Rodgers never got enough credit for how much he played through pain. I mean, the Bears game, the my knee game, but there was many others in addition to that. I guarantee that Jordan Love saw that and understood, all right, I'm not going to sit here with a cast on and be limping around and taking photos on the sidelines. I'm pretty sure that he gutted it out, and not enough people gave him the credit that he deserved last year.
My knee.
Hardy the Prophet, good to see you, buddy. He says, where can we find the Jordan Love video? If you'll go and search Armed and Dangerous quarterback, I'm pretty sure that'll pull it up. That's Jordan Love's quarterback coach. I'm sure I think he originally posted the videos on his Instagram, though. Jordan Love did. So you'll see them there as well. And again, there's only so much you could take from him stepping up between bags and throwing a football, but I completely agree, though. He looked 100% finally. He really did. Yep. So, and the other thing that many people haven't talked about enough, I know we haven't, is his lack of ability to be able to run with the football last year. Man, that opens a lot of things up.
Yep.
A lot of things. Just his ability.
Even just the threat, even just being able to say, hey, this dude. Everybody went into the game knowing his knee was a little bum, right? Everybody knew that he wasn't, and we weren't doing it. Like Zach was saying, he hasn't been under center. He's not 100%. That's the truth. I think that we do need to get back to that. But it's something that he's healed from. Let's get moving. Let's get on with it. Let's turn this offense up. And to Zach's point, dude, that's why we're just saying you can give those super chats. We had a discussion about it, and you still love Jordan. Like, we can still move on from it. Like, Absolutely. We're not, we're cruising with it.
I want to be abundantly clear. This show is not going to be the host going, "You're wrong, you're stupid."
Right.
Like that's not what we do. This is the fan base coming together and talking ball and figuring stuff out together. Now, I will say this: if somebody gets in the chat talking about that's stupid, you're wrong, blah 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 blah, they're gone, because we ain't got there's no place for it. There isn't. Everyone has an opinion. As long as everybody's being respectful, I want to hear more opinions than less. That's where I've learned the most.
We just had a 15-minute conversation about it. Everybody fleshed out their points because of it. I mean, that's what you need.
And now you go have a daddy soda, kick back, and enjoy your evening. You know what I mean? That's the way it works. So, some other news. I don't know if we hit this, Tim. Do you remember if we hit this when this news broke?
We did not. I don't think we did.
I don't think we did either. I don't know what was going on that day, but I just revisited it and wanted to kind of dive into this real quick. But Easton Butler had put a tweet out. This was some time ago, and I can't see the date. Actually, if I scroll down, maybe March 15th. So this is about 10 days ago. Offensive lineman Essa Pohl was a top 30 visit, or has top 30 visits lined up with the following: Packers, Seahawks, Chiefs. This is the first top 30 pre-draft visit reported for Green Bay. So he was actually the first top 30 pre-draft visit there. So what we did was put together a quick little write-up on him. And this dude, I'm telling you, I fell in love with this cat right off the bat. Listen to this background. This is Essa Pohl, all right? And here's what it says. Blah, blah, blah. We'll just skip through the majority of it. Pohl, who stood out at his pro day at 6'5" 323-pound frame and 0 sacks allowed in 2024 is gaining attention as the Packers look to reinforce their offensive line. And it's a scouting report coming out of high school. Esa Pohl did not play high school football. An unusual path for an NFL prospect, a native of Oakland, California. He spent his teenage years in New Zealand before returning to the U.S. without a traditional recruiting profile. He enrolled at Shabbat, I think is how you say that, Chabot Junior College, where his raw athleticism rooted in rugby and a 6'5" frame caught attention. Lacking a Rivals rating due to his non-traditional background, Pohl's potential was untapped until he hit the junior college scene, showcasing his size and agility and hinted at a future in the trenches. The college statistics, Pohl's collegiate or college career unfolded across, how would you say that name, Jacob? Help me out here. Chabot. Shabbat?
I'd say that's Chabot Junior College. I think I've heard it called. But
Chabot Junior College and Washington State. At Chabot, he started 2 seasons at left tackle, though detailed stats are sparse. Transferring to Washington State, he started 21 consecutive games at left tackle in 2024. Per PFF, he played 498 pass blocking snaps, allowing 0 sacks and 9 pressures with an 81.2 pass blocking grade, top 20 among FBS tackles. His run blocking grade of 68.4 was solid, contributing to Washington State's 37-16 upset over Texas Tech in 2024, where he paved lanes for 143 rushing yards. Look at this cat. Tell me you don't want that. Like, seriously, he's most offensive linemen you look at and you go, yeah, they got some fat. That dude looks like he is stout. Measured at 6'5" and a quarter, 323 pounds at Washington State's Pro Day. Pohl boasts a 33 5/8 inch arms and a 7.30 relative athletic score. His standout trait is pass protection, where he uses length and strong anchor to neutralize edge rushers. Rarely getting beat clean, 0 sacks in 2040s. He's quick off the snap with a wide stance that swallows bull rushes. Though his hand placement can lag, leaving him vulnerable to savvy counters. In the run game, he's a people mover on down blocks, but lacks elite lateral agility with a 5.22 second 40, struggling to reach second-level defenders. Pohl projects as a developmental left tackle or swing tackle with starter upside and a power-based scheme. Injury and character concerns. He has no major injury history on record, starting every game for 2 years at Washington State after 2 healthy seasons at Chabot. His durability is a plus, though his 323-pound frame and rugby background raises minor questions about long-term wear. Character-wise, there's nothing negative to note. He's described as a quiet, hardworking prospect. Training with ex-NFL tight end Lee Smith in Tennessee ahead of the Pro Day, Pohl's commitment shines through with no off-field issues or team conflicts. So it goes on to say Pohl's draft stock sits in the mid to late rounds, likely 4th to 6th, 0 sacks, 2024 season, and Pro Day buzz despite no combine invite have him trending towards day 3, with some mocks placing him around picks 120 to 150. Analysts see him as a sleeper, with Bleacher Report ranking him outside of the top 100, but noting his upside. The Packers hosting him for a visit could target him in the 5th round to groom behind Rasheed Walker, though teams like the Bengals or Saints might snag him early for tackle depth. This dude right here might be your next backup left tackle. Remember that name. I don't know. There's something about that, man, with the background, the personality.
It's thick.
Packer, man. Seems like a What do y'all think on Esa Pohl? They're late in the draft.
Yeah, apparently it's pronounced Chabot, is what I found on the internet. So
I want to say, I don't know if French is the right word, but anytime you see that combination of a B-O-T after a C-H-E, it usually turns into the she. So go ahead, though, sir. Appreciate that.
I totally be on board with it. It looks like the Packers have kind of found that little diamond in the rough, and it makes sense that a lot of the other scouts look at a guy that's never played football in high school, that was in New Zealand, it looked like, that never really had a – but I'll tell you what, that wrestling background is about as – I put that on the same echelon as the rugby background. I've known a couple of the craziest dudes I've ever met in my whole life play rugby. Like, I mean, absolute just ankle biter, knee biter, eating nails for breakfast type people. So I think that this guy could fit. He could fit a mold. And imagine if he's like, doesn't have the wear and tear of a guy that's really never played left tackle his whole career, but now he's just slipping right into it like it's like a second nature. That's pretty intriguing to me.
Yeah, it really is. And it's one of those get off the bus guys, Emilio. You know what I mean? It's like You want that dude walking off the bus first. He just looks like that's the guy you're going to take into a bar fight with you.
Absolutely. You said he has a wrestling background, so I threw the emoji on there for
rugby, not wrestling.
Oh, Jacob.
Yeah, so
you know what? It's close enough, I think.
Get that right.
Yeah. No, but seriously, he dropped 12 spots on PFF big board. I think that it's good that you're getting your eyes on someone like that. It's something that you probably wouldn't see elsewise without bringing him in, right? So that's not bad. -1 RAS, so he was in the 7+.
It's crazy too, man. If this picture right here, and I believe it was, they said that was a pro day pick, I think. If he was 323 pounds, like Dave says here, man, he's jacked. Like you can see the oblique and everything there. Like that dude is, he's going to be an ass kicker, I think. And Tim, no sacks given up. Like, I mean, when you hear about a player who didn't play high school football, had a rugby background, you think, okay, well, he's got to, he's probably going to be raw. I mean, you go out there and just play for the entire year last year and 0 sacks, stayed healthy. That's pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm. I mean, some people are just naturals. You know what I mean? And we talk about the comparables between, rugby and American football, the game that we love. And I can see why it makes a lot of sense to put him on the line. Looks like another interesting prospect to me. Let's take another tackle and turn him into a guard like we always do, right? But
Tim, you know why he's interesting is I pulled up the 2024 numbers. Pass block grade 85.8, run block grade 57.3.
That's what I'm talking about. And I like what it said in that article too, in the write-up, Clayton, about like in a power scheme, because I feel like I think we're going to see a little bit more power run out of this LaFleur offense this year, at least mixed in a little bit. I know we did a lot of zone run, but I'd like to just see some big boy power run scheme here with Josh Jacobs and, some big dogs like this blocking, it's a great point, Emilio. Like the pass block is one thing. You got to be able to protect Jordan, but it's a whole nother thing if you can move bodies in the run game as well. So and the fact that he didn't play football at all in high school and is,
right,
a top 300 prospect and seems to just take to the game pretty naturally, anybody who drafts this guy is going to have a great prospect going forward. He might be a 1 to 3 year developmental project in the NFL, but doesn't mean he's not going to turn out to be an absolute monster. So worth keeping an eye on him.
Two things to that, Tim. Most drafted by Green Bay Packers, 47%. Then it's Chiefs at 12%, San Francisco at 11% based off PFF numbers. And second, we don't need him because we've already got a guy named Travis Glover.
Good Lord.
We don't even need our boy Esapool, all right?
How dare you?
Hey, Tron, thank you for the super chat, buddy. I'm hoping this is the comment. And Jacob, I think you found it. I appreciate that.
Yep, I got it.
Says, question, with the way the receivers' reaction to JJ saying we need a proven receiver earlier this year, do you think a round 1 receiver would start a locker room divide? Silly, I'm sure, but who knows? I don't think it's silly to think that could potentially happen. You could tell it pissed Jayden Reed off. He immediately went to Twitter, right? And, Josh Jacobs, I think, is a great teammate. I don't think he was saying anything there, to upset anyone or create division, but it's one of two things are going to happen. Either someone's going to get pissed off and shut it down and be like, well, the heck with that guy, I ain't playing for him. Or they're going to get pissed off and go, oh, I'm going to show him. I think it's the latter. I really do. So I hope this wide receiver core comes out and just shuts everybody up. You know what I'd like to see happen? I'd like to see one of the best receivers fall right in our lap, us draft them, and they not even see the field because our receiver just absolutely balled out. That would be awesome to me because I'm rooting for these dudes, man. Especially Jayden Reed, I just do not understand the hate on him last year. It made no sense whatsoever to me. He gets hurt, the targets go down, and his production was still there. And I'm telling you right now, I have challenged everybody. Find the drops for me. I know he dropped passes. Don't take this the wrong way. But there were some of those drops where he's laying out, diving for the ball and this and that. And it's like, I'm sorry, man. Not all of those are on him. They're not. And the fact that, like we said, with far fewer targets and the guy still, what was it, 800 and some yards, whatever it was he finished with. He's a spark plug
on 75 targets and 55 receptions.
Yeah. Again, you guys go do the math. Compare him to DK Metcalf. Give him the same amount of targets as DK Metcalf got, and you'll go, damn, DK wasn't that good, was he? Especially if everybody was ready to run Jayden Reed out of town. So.
With a long of 70, catch percentage of a 73%, and yards per target of 11.4.
There you go. All right. Tim, which direction you want to go now, man? We can go history, or we can go with another prospect profile from one of our top 30 visits. What would you like to do? You're calling the shots here, sir.
Is it an offensive prospect or a defensive prospect?
We've got both. You could pick.
I'm always down for a little defensive prospect talk.
All right, let's do it, boys. Let's jump into it. All right, these are top 30 visits, okay? We hadn't gotten around to doing these yet. So let's just dive in. And this is Shemar Stewart, okay? Put a little scouting report together for him. Keep in mind, some of this information may be a little outdated. I tried to correct it where I could and use AI to throw this together really, really fast and compile the information, okay? Jacob, actually, you want to read it or no? If you don't feel like it, it's okay. You're a better reader than me, I believe. Can you see it?
I got it. Sure. Packers reportedly scheduled top 30 visit. The Green Bay Packers have reportedly scheduled the top 30 visit with Texas A&M defensive lineman Shemar Stewart, according to the post on X, positioning him among their pre-draft prospects for the 2025 NFL Draft. Stewart, a standout at the NFL Combine with 4.5-second 40-yard dash and a 40-inch vertical at 6'5", 267 American pounds, is drawing interest as the Packers aim to fortify their defensive front, joining a select of group talents under evaluation. You want to go on? This is talking about his scouting report coming out of high school. A 5-star recruit from Monsignor Edward Pace High School in Miami, Florida. Shemar Stewart was a top-tier talent in the 2022 class. Evaluators raved about his rare blend of size, speed, and power, clocking a 4.7 40-yard dash at 6'5", 255 pounds as a senior. His dominance on film, disrupting backfields and chasing down ball carriers, earned him the number 9 overall ranking and number 2 defensive end spot in the Finals Rivals 250, marking him as an elite prospect with limitless potential.
All right. I'll take back over here. College statistics. Stewart's 3-year stint at Texas A&M showcased steady growth. As a freshman, he recorded 23 tackles, 1.5 sacks, 4 tackles for a loss across 416 snaps. His sophomore year dipped to 11 tackles, 1.5 sacks, and 318 snaps, mostly as a reserve. In 2024, he broke out as a starter, posting 31 tackles, 1.5 sacks, 5.5 tackles for loss, and 1 forced fumble in 12 games, with an 82.2 or 88.2 PFF run defense grade and 33 pressures. Career total 65 tackles, 4.5 sacks, and 14 tackles for a loss over 37 games. I'm not sure if that was up to date at the moment. If you guys want to cross-check that sack total from last year, because it may have been pulling it before the season was over. Sometimes that happens. So detailed scouting report at 6'5", 267 pounds, combine measurements. Stewart pairs a chiseled frame with 34.25-inch arms and a freaky athletic profile, 4'5", 840, 10-foot, 11-inch broad jump. He's a force against the run, using length and explosive power to stack tackles and reset the line of scrimmage, often peeling off blocks to make plays. His pass rush flashes are tantalizing. Speed-to-power moves put tackles on skates, but his arsenal remains raw with inconsistent hand usage and limited bend around the edge. Stewart thrives as a 5-tech in odd fronts, projecting as a high upside end with Pro Bowl potential if coached up, though his 4.5 sack college total tempers expectations. So, injury and character concerns. Stewart's injury history is minimal, with no major setbacks reported across 3 seasons at Texas A&M, starting all 12 games in 2024. His frame suggests durability, though his aggressive style could invite wear over time. Character-wise, he's a clean slate. No suspensions or off-field issues have surfaced. A 2-year starter and Senior Bowl participant. Stewart's motor and work ethic earn high marks, with coaches noting his growth from a raw talent into a disciplined defender. And his draft projection, it says Stewart's draft stock spans late first to early second, buoyed by his combine explosion and traits. Bleacher Report ranks him number 33 overall, while ESPN's Phil Yates lists him as the number 5 edge prospect, hinting at a top 20 ceiling. Mock drafts peg him between the picks of 19 and 40. With the Packers, it says number 27. That was a typo. Number 23, a plausible fit to pair him with Rashawn Gary. His rawness might slide him to day 2, but his athleticism ensures he won't last past the top 50 for a team betting on upside. I'd be surprised if he makes it out of the top 15. What's your all's thoughts after reading all that on Shemar Stewart? Obviously, a highly touted prospect along the entire way.
I was going to say top 20.
Top 20.
Yeah. I mean, reading that stuff, it's hard not to fall in love with the kid. It's just I've been burned before by Goody by looking at the. Broken. I think I'm ready to have it broken again. But I don't know. I mean, he really that 34-inch arms, almost 11-inch broad. I mean, the vert's there, absolute stud. It's just like you look at the production. Why didn't it translate into numbers? That's what makes me just scratch my head a bit and take a step back and pause a little. But boy, if he's one of those guys he's such an absolute athletic freak that you'd have to think that if we get him in the door, you'd at least be happy about it, right? I'm not going to be Respect Orange says maybe he can make us forget about LVN. The thing is that was what LVN was. He was a ball of clay that was absolutely a freak, physical freak. And again, that's why I'm a little hesitant to go down that path again, because we've been over and over. Quay Walker, even Devontae, these guys that are not necessarily productive in their careers, but on paper look like they should be the best athletes of all time. It's just not being transferred over. I want more of a Kyle Hamilton type where the numbers don't look that great, but he's a baller and he's there to play football, and he's going to play football every single snap for you.
Yeah, Tim, this was your request, man. Defense. We got him in the 16 spot, but man, it's hard to ignore the lack of productivity, the low PFF grades, all those things, right? And as Greg Cosell said, this dude is elite in every trait across the board. He just doesn't know how to rush the passer. What you take, Tim?
Brutal honesty right there. I love it. What is the Shemar Stewart in a lot of ways looks like a Goody pick, and then in a lot of ways looks like he's not a Goody pick. I really don't know where to stand on him. I feel like we could do worse, but I feel like we could do better, depending on where we're at and what Goody's going to do with that first round pick if he does in fact move it and try to load up. I don't know how aggressively they're going to pursue him. Do you think Goody pulls a trigger on him at 23?
I think that was the whole purpose of the top 30 visit, Tim, is to gather that information to decide on that. I completely agree with what Jacob's saying. Like when I hear people say, Shemar Stewart's the pick at 23, I say we got Shemar Stewart at home. It's LVN, right? And now if you draft Shemar Stewart at 23, then you've got to anticipate it's going to take a year or two before he can truly rush the quarterback effectively, right? Maybe I'm being too negative there. I don't know, but it's like you see where he ranks on the big board. He's well worth the 23rd pick according to our big board. But how did he get there? When you talk about how he got there, it wasn't because of the grades, right? It wasn't because of the production. It's because the PFF big board had him at 19. Consensus big board had him at 25. He kicked ass. I want to say it again. He kicked ass at the Senior Bowl. He was making those boys. I mean, you remember the video, Emilio, where he's literally just bull rushing people. He's just a dominant force in that regard. Daniel Jeremiah at 27. 33rd team had him at 16. Dane Brugler had him at 9. His RAS is a 10. Now, again, I didn't give him the Greg Cosell bonus because he said he's to lead everything. I was grinning. I was like, oh, man, Greg Cosell's all over him. And then he said, but he doesn't know how to rush the passer. I'm like, I can't give him a bonus for that. I can't do it. What do you think?
That's true. No, I think
you okay with it?
Yes. The reason being because Goody's pulling the trigger if that guy's there at 23. I seriously think that. If he pulled the trigger at 13 with LVN, why would he not pull the trigger at almost more of a freak at 23 with Shemar Stewart falling to him? The reason why, Shemar was so successful was his run defense. Seriously. I mean, if you come in there and you're able to stop the run in the NFL, all right, we can teach you to rush the passer. But right now, if we need a guy in there that's a freak athlete that, hey, we want someone to set the edge, anybody can come in on third and rush, hey, he's going to make sure that they don't run the ball past him. Dude's run defense grade was an 88.2 with a run stop rate of 5%. Pass rush win rate was 12.4%, and his pressure total pressures was 39 out of 521. He was at 13%. for his pressures there. So he's getting there. It's not like he's not getting to there. His sacks were 2 a season, looks like. So that's obviously not great. But thinking about a productive college player, a super productive college player that goes to the NFL that doesn't pan out, or a college player that's still kind of climbing to his apex before he gets into the NFL. By the time the dude's 25, is he going to be the Trayvon Walker? Is it going to be, if all right, say Trayvon Walker went to Jags, right? Would you be mad? They took Trayvon Walker number 1 overall. Would you be mad if we took Shemar Stewart at 23 and had that same kind of production of Trayvon?
That's a good point, because he did. I think people would say he panned out, right?
I think so. I mean, and that's the only kind of pushback. I'm not giving you crap on your decision, Clay. I'm just saying I think Goody would pull the trigger, and I do think that you're looking at it more broader of, I know we need a pass rusher. If we want a pass rusher, I think that we need to look maybe, at a little bit more help at 3-tech. I think Goody would say, hey, dude, how can we turn down this talent that we could have for 4 years that we really could turn into something if LVN's quote-unquote doesn't pan out? If my previous pick at LVN doesn't pan out, I still need to rinse and repeat that same idea of, let's get an athlete in here, let's get moving.
Yeah. Yep. And one of the other things, Tim, that they talked about on that podcast with Greg Cosell and I think it was Ross Tucker that was breaking it down. No, it was the Eagles podcast, I think.
Oh, okay.
They said he played at 280 last year. Now, PFF had him listed at 290. And Greg Cosell said, for whatever reason, he trimmed down to 267 and went to the combine like that. The fact that he could drop that weight like that and then come back up, and they immediately asked him, so is he like a 3-4 defensive lineman? Can he play defensive line 3-4? He said, I see him more as an edge. So that's a dude, you could put some weight on him and turn him into like an elephant in or something.
Right.
I mean, but again, it's got to be there, And let's look at some of the games that he played. Arkansas was one of his best games, probably his best game, 83.2 against Arkansas at home. At South Carolina, 79.5. So like the big games, Texas, 70.5. That's pretty solid, right? Run defense grade, 81.3. So I'm trying to think of what would be another one. There's Notre Dame, week 1, 70.2. Not bad. So when you look at his career, 46.3, then he jumped to a 69.5, then he jumped to a 79.5. What you were talking about, Tim, he got better every year, right? And it's kind of like what Greg Cosell was saying about Matthew Golden, and he said the same thing about Brian Thomas. You guys remember Brian Thomas when you watched our draft party? I wasn't big on Brian Thomas. He was fairly low on our board, like really low on our board. And he said, Greg Cosell said, Brian Thomas entered the league ascending. He said, I see Matthew Golden doing that as well. He didn't say that about Shemar Stewart, but according to PFF, that's what's going on, Tim.
Right.
I think, if they're looking at him as an edge, or if we're going to look at him as an edge, I like Scorton better out of A&M personally. I feel like I'm not saying as a first-round pick, but I'm just saying as a prospect overall. I really liked his tape, and I think he's got a little bit more in the hopper when it comes to the numbers.
Well, you're gonna love this tomorrow, Tim. We're gonna do it tomorrow because we're out of time. But we put together an article here, top 7 edge defender breakdown. It's the top 7 edge defenders on our board, and we got all their measurables, their college production, their strengths, their weaknesses, NFL comparisons, draft stock, and a quick summary.
Nice.
So we'll get that tomorrow. It's gonna be a blast. And what the goal is to try to narrow it down. Right? Let's try to narrow this thing down to where here's the top 7 edge defenders on our big board, and we'll try to see which one makes the most sense. I didn't mean to cut you off, but as you were saying it, I'm like, Tim's thinking the same way my mind fires. All right, let's get these guys on the same sheet of paper and see who stacks up.
For sure. Nice little preview for tomorrow then.
Yeah, I just think it's wild. We've come so far of like, hey, we need a wide receiver. We needed a D tackle for a while. All right, I didn't even think we were going to be talking about edges, the amount we were talking about DTs, and now we're here. Like, hey, dude, I think edge is going to be the pull. It's like the fact that 20 or 30 D linemen in the first 3 rounds are going to be off the board. They think that's insane. That's insane. But it shows because looking back, going full circle here, Golden, making the top 5 in the top 50, I would say. There's not a lot. We had 10 or 12 last year. There's you get a different year. You gotta. What does Goody always do when a draft is thick at a position or when a draft is heavy at a position? Goody takes a couple shots at it, a couple scatter shots. Let's take a few chances on it. I think that D-line and edge is busy this year. It's very busy. I think that he can get behind it.
Yeah. Yep. And I know, Tim, you had mentioned Scorton as well. Prince, I like Scorton too. He's my number 4 defensive end. We've got him in the 26th spot. Greg Cosell loved him, gave him the full bonus there. He also was showing a 9+ RAS. We're getting ready to take all of the threshold emojis off, and we're going to try to clear some of the RAS data and start to get the real RAS scores in and make sure everything lines up accurately. You'll see the board shuffle a little bit as that happens, but I'd be totally on board with Nick Scorton there at 23. There'd be nothing wrong with there. Again, for me, it's not just about – in a perfect world, I would love to get a 3-tech, but it's got to make sense with the board. Yeah, and the board may say take a wide receiver. The board may say take an offensive tackle. Like those things may have – the board may say take Jahdae Barron. I'd be okay with that.
The board may say trade back.
Mm-hmm. Yes. We all say trade back. But, yeah, so it's going to be fun, man. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm excited about being in Green Bay for it. It's going to be a blast. Anybody who's going to be in Green Bay, if you're in our Patreon group, let us know in the general chat, and we'll get organized and make sure we can have a place to meet up there. Our plan is we're going to be over at the draft. It's going to be like a big festival. This field that you're seeing on the screen right now is going to be covered in all kinds of like NFL combine style drills for the fans to partake in. It's essentially been described on the app as a football festival is what's going to be all day. Yes. So we're going to be over there early in the day on Thursday and then get back to the house in time to do the live draft party so we don't let our viewers down. I've had more people worried about that than anything. They're like, please tell me you're still doing a draft party this year. I promise we will. We're going to do a draft stream. So we'll be over there. Anybody who's going to be at the draft, be looking to meet up with people, just hang out. Nothing formal, just hanging out. Maybe, grab a bucket of cheese curds and a daddy soda and watch some people bust their ass on that field while they're trying to run the 40. That's my goal.
Cheese curds make my stomach hurt all the time, but I do eat them though.
So we'll be there during the day on Thursday, during the day on Friday, and then day 3, we're not going to do a live stream. And I'm just gonna hang out over there all day long and take it in before we have to fly out the next day. So that's my plan.
Until Clayton's there for 2 hours, like, you know what? We probably got enough time to run back to the house.
Like, you know exactly how my mom works.
That's exactly what's going to happen. I can already see it coming.
Mandy was sitting in his chair earlier, and she was like, "Are you having fun?" Because she seen me stressed and trying to get the show together in time. I went, "I think so." And she was like, "You got to stop trying to make everything perfect," because I'm big on like being organized, making sure it flows. Because here's the reality: like, everybody in the chat, the people that are listening to the pod, y'all are taking time out of your day. Like that's valuable to me, man. You could be listening or watching anything in the world right now, and you're choosing to hang out with us. I just want to put the best product out there, man, and do it to where we have fun. And that's why and the guys are too, like, no BS in the chat, man. If somebody's being rude, they're being an ass and bringing the chat down, what we call a buzzkill, get them out of here. You know what I mean? So,
but you want to bring a point and say your piece? Fine, fair. Say your piece. All right, we can have a discussion and move on. That's
definitely
why we got the flag behind us, folks. That's all I'm saying.
That's where it represents.
Let me just ask you this real quick, Clay and Tim. If we were to even give Nick Scorton Shemar Stewart just a -1 from Greg Cosell, he would jump Walter Nolan at 15 and Mike Green at 16 and Mike Green at 14 on our board.
Say it again. I'm so sorry, man. Say it one more time. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I screwed it up anyway. Shemar Stewart, say we give him a -1 of Greg Cosell, right? He would jump Walter Nolan and Mike Green on our board, and he would set himself in at the 14 spot at that point.
That is crazy. This is what he's talking about. Look at the board here. He's sitting in the 17 spot. If we gave him just a -1 over here, right, then it would jump. He would jump. Shemar Stewart would jump Walter Nolan, right, and Mike Green, and be the second best edge defender on the board, and real close to James Pierce, real close. So
I'm just saying, we might need to sleep on that one. I know, the way he talked about him.
And
you still need a run defender, Clay.
I struggle with that bad, man, because it's like it's hard to, like Emeka Egbuka. There was during that 2-minute clip where he's describing Emeka Egbuka, I went -5, baby, -5. And I went, no bonus. And I went, wait a minute, no, -5. And I'm like, I kept going back and forth because you take the positives and the negatives and you got to group them together and go, okay, where does Greg Cosell truly sit on this guy? And when he started comparing him to like a Monroe St. Brown and this and that, I'm like, holy cow, like that
right.
Maybe, yeah, that's why I settled in at a 3. So like with Shemar Stewart, he did, man. The first 30 seconds of him talking was just, this dude is elite across the board. I'm going, holy cow, we're gonna have to give him a 5-point bonus.
Right.
Maybe Shemar Stewart is the guy. But then he said, somebody got to teach him how to rush the passer. I'm like,
but is all that hype, is all that love worth just give me a -1? Can I stand on the hill for him? I don't know.
Man, you like this guy almost as much as you like Travis Glover.
No, come on, Tim. Don't play that game. You know my boy Travis is up there. No way we're gonna let Nick hop that.
Yeah. Appreciate what you said there. Who was it that said it? Gosh, I pulled it off. Clint. Thank you for the kind words, Clint. Appreciate you, man. Hardy the Prophet, the super chat. Thank you, buddy. He says Emilio has the flag to throw ice off his scent. Amen.
Hey,
he already knows.
That's terrible.
Won't give away the secrets.
That was the most subtle. All right, guys, that's it. Y'all hit that like button for us. Subscribe to the channel if this is your first time swinging through. We had a statistic come across the board last week with our weekly recap. We had 10,000 new viewers. 10,000 people who never watched our show before watched our show last week. And Emilio jumps my ass all the time because I don't ask people to sub. I don't ask people to like.
Go on there and click. If you're on your phone, you're already logged into YouTube. They're not going to let you do it without it. Click in there real quick. If you're at home, if you're at your neighbor's house, like Greg Rice is probably watching at his neighbor's house on the big screen, just go ahead and just sub there real quick with them. That's all we need. A little sub. Patreon's in the bio.
Yeah. Patreon too, guys. It's a fun, it's evolving too. Like what's crazy is as we get into the regular season and everything in training camp, the Patreons right now, it's all draft. The Patreon is going to shift to, OTAs, and we'll talk about the OTAs update. So you'll be able to just literally log on to Patreon and get the latest up to date news on what happened at OTAs, all that stuff. So
and I'm in there too. If you got a question, we can a little messaging in there, a little draft board talk. Absolutely. But the most important thing right now, clearly, is our man United Bates here says,
"Here's the guy."
Hey, thank you, Tim. That was exactly what I needed. Gifting 40, man. Bates, you are absolutely the man. Said, I turned 40 today, pulled my back, putting on my shoes, sleeping upside down tonight to try to reverse this. Look forward to PTA every day and looking forward to many more years. Go, Pack, go.
Hey, we appreciate it.
Great.
Cannot thank you enough, Bates. While you're at it, go ahead and elevate the legs, get them above your heart. Maybe we can get the blood pumping through there. But besides that, man, I appreciate you, everything you've done for the show and given to the show, man.
Happy birthday, Bates. You've been here since day one, man. And I know Tim will vouch for this too, man. You're nothing but a blessing to us. Hopefully you're going to be at the draft. If you can't make it, I completely understand. Definitely somebody I want to be able to meet up with and just thank you in person, man. You've been supporting us since day one and you're awesome, man. So
yeah, get better soon, man. Hopefully your back feels better soon. Welcome to 40, man.
Welcome to 40. That's what I was going to say too, Tim, but I didn't want to. You know how it is.
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
Man, I wasn't sure because I got a little ways to get there.
You got a long ways, buddy.
You're
good,
30 yet? You didn't even hit 30 yet.
Oh, later this year, Tim. Later this year. That's
right. He don't look a day over 12 either.
And Bates, if you're not in the Patreon, we need to get you in there, but I'm pretty sure you are.
Yeah, I'm sure he is, man. Yeah. Yeah, Patreon's where to be, guys. So, again, it's just a way to stay connected and support the show and also win free stuff. On Saturday, we're going to be giving away an autographed Mason Crosby card with a piece of a jersey on it as well. Really cool piece of memorabilia done by, I think it's called Panini. I hope I'm saying that right. That was donated by another awesome listener, Jazambi. So, you guys are great, man. Again, Bates, thank you so much. Chuck Jagger says, damn, $40, we need another mock. No, we don't. send that 40 spot back to Bates and save my marriage. Is what I'm going to do here. Okay, so but again, Bates, thank you. Thanks to everybody with the super chats. Mike Witt coming through heavy tonight. Appreciate you, Zach. Thank you, buddy. That was a good conversation. Appreciate your opinion, as well as King Tron, Hardy the Prophet. You guys are awesome. Of course, Bates with the big 40 spot. Tim Milio, appreciate you, Tom. Jacob had to go to the office.
As always, they're always calling.
Hey, it is what it is. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Everybody have a great night.
There we go.
Bye, guys.